Hello. Before we start today's episode, if you would like a condensed version of what I'm talking about in this podcast, go ahead and subscribe to The Perfectionist Guide. You can read the entire thing in 3 minutes or less. To access this, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/newsletter. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, type A, hyper performer? Then you know that having the audacity to see an ideal and bring it into reality while breaking generational habits of hustle can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on rewiring perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired. I always ask going into everything that I do for you, how can I be of service? What needs to come through me? Is this helping with your liberation and illumination? And what came up in my dialogue with the divine was, tell them about this. This will liberate them. By me illuminating how you can have self-compassion even when you're the worst. I was devoid of self-compassion until 4 years ago. I had an aha moment with my coach where I had mentioned something offhand about an inner critic that I had. I just thought, okay, yeah, your brain's an asshole. I just thought that was a life I had to live. If you don't know better, you don't do better. And you also don't hope for better. This coach identified, something's off. She started talking about self-compassion, and we're both master coaches. And I was like, hold up, like TO. I was like, you're talking to me about like cursive and doing sentences, and I didn't even know the ABCs. I also just want to preface in this episode, as I realize there are all kinds of wonderful, wonderful new heart-beating humans that are joining the movement that is Unfuckwithable You. Not all of you know my childhood and adolescence was spent in extreme violence, abuse, and terror. I mention that only to show you it absolutely does not matter what your past holds. Like, you could just be released from jail and be a felon. That does not fucking matter. It literally has no bearing on your future and the mission that you are here on earth to fulfill. So shockingly, I was not raised with self-compassion. I did not know what it was. I knew how to give it to other people, but doing anything humane towards myself felt wrong. Treating myself like a piece of shit didn't feel good, but it did feel more comfortable. Self-compassion extends way beyond your mind. It's not something that you can give someone a step-by-step because it is a felt sense. It's not a matter of reading books. You can read every single book. You can take all the courses. You can be a fucking master self-compassioner if that's a thing. But it's not until you are congruent with yourself, when your spirit, your mind, your emotions, and your heart are all aligned and they're all pointing in one direction, that you can really have self-compassion. When you are incongruent, meaning that either your spirit, your mind, your emotions, your heart, something's out of order, your energy is splintered. You want to do one thing in your heart, but your mind says something else, or you freeze and you're not really able to go and do it. You experience friction. I have gone through an enormous metamorphosis, having epiphany after epiphany after epiphany, dissolving shadows and obstacles that I have been diligently working on for years. These monumental shifts with my energy and all of my perception points, because of my congruence, brought me to the realization of, oh my goodness, when it comes to my marketing for my business, I've not been in alignment with myself and who I am. And for that, I am profoundly sorry. The podcast, out of all the places, has actually been the place that I have been the most myself, because it's the place I never felt any pressure, and I honored my intuitive senses as far as what I want to talk about, how I want to do it. But if you've seen me other places, maybe like you unfollowed me or you were like, oh, this doesn't really seem like her, I wasn't being fully myself. If you were on my email list or you are on my email list, that is the place where it was the worst for me. Being unfuckwithable means that you fuck up sometimes, but you own it like an adult and you do better. What is so interesting, especially for me as a 3-5, is nothing big happened. There was no, oh my gosh, I had a mass exodus of clients or my podcast numbers plummeted. Usually for me, like rock hits bottom and then I will wake up to a change, which is also what makes this shift that I'm doing all the more exhilarating. Something that's really beautiful about self-compassion and your self-concept, we don't need to get caught. This is all my own self-awareness and just really going off of what my soul and spirit is telling me. I'm here for the people that want to be coached by someone who doesn't compromise their integrity and they want to have that in their life too. So you can look at what you've been doing and maybe some, oh gosh, I can't believe I said that. You do that without dropping into the drama or the shame spiral or not enough or hurry up, I better get out of here. Truth booth, like recognize when you are actively choosing to disempower yourself. Choosing to actively disempower yourself is when you have self-pity, when you shame yourself, when you judge yourself. You know what actively disempowering yourself is because you know the way that it feels. Just do a body check. And tell yourself, I'm better than that because you are better than that. If you are listening to Unfuckwithable You, you are better than that. And just decide, I'm the kind of human, I'm the kind of leader who I can see where I'm at and I can honor it and I can celebrate it in order to have that ability to have compassion for yourself without making yourself small or contracting. Like we don't huddle around smallness here. You can still be big with yourself in the self-compassion. And where that comes from, I asked myself this before this episode, comes from my self-concept. My self-concept is that I'm curious. Self-concept is that I extend as much compassion to myself as I do for my clients. I extend the same compassion for myself as I do my nieces and nephew. I extend the same compassion for myself as I do Chandler Bing. When you have that as part of your self-concept, meaning my belief and not just my mental belief, my soul and my spiritual connection, this doesn't matter. My private clients, they'll be like, oh, I can't, they'll feel bad about it. And I'm like, no. Like, knock that off. This realization that you're coming to that maybe it does feel icky, and it's good if it feels icky because that's showing you, oh, this is out of congruence for me. The fact that you're able to feel that and you're like, this doesn't resonate anymore. Most people are unwilling to do that work. They have this subtle ego bypassing where people get a little bit of this, especially I see it so much with coaches. They're just like, yeah, I'm great. I don't have any shadow. All my shit's cleared. They act like this perfect robot. Something ain't right. It scares me. And this could be my 3-5 talking. I don't trust anyone that doesn't have some scars, that doesn't have some like epic, yeah, so I used to do this. Because that's growth. This self-compassion that I have, that you can have too when you sculpt your self-concept. The way that it comes is through the skill of self-awareness. It's very ancestral in a good way because you can't have self-awareness without self-compassion. If you are not compassionate, your subconscious and unconscious will hide things from you. It will be scared of how you're going to react and that it will be disciplined. And instead, you will be manifesting results that you don't actually want to be living in. Everything that we have in our lives, we want. It might not be the 3 to 5% of you, the conscious part of your brain. It might not be what that part of you ordered on the menu, but the governing party, the majority party, the subconscious and the unconscious, it's what they ordered. Sacred truth, now confirmed by neuroscience, is we see the world not as it is, but filtered through our subjective perceptions, our biases, and our pre-existing beliefs. We keep fueling our actions, default beliefs and assumptions without awareness, which then become neural pathways. And it keeps you in the same loop. So you just keep producing the same self-fulfilling prophecies. This is the work that most people skip over. They're just like, here's a thought model. That's not fucking self-awareness. Real self-awareness actually requires you to slow down, to look at your mind, your spirit, and your emotions instead of rushing to the next action. Your mind, of course, is going to tell you, no, we don't have time for this. Let's go do something else. All of that's doing is making those neural pathways deeper and deeper and deeper. You are continuing to be in the same cycle of misdirected and misaligned action. You keep producing the same undesirable results. So many people come to me. Maybe you're thinking this right now. You're like, well, CLG, on paper, my life looks really good. Maybe you're the first person to go to college in your family. Maybe you immigrated to the United States. Maybe you're a self-made millionaire. You've gone farther maybe than anyone in your tribe or anyone in your ancestry. So you have these feelings of guilt, which is like feeling shitty on top of feeling shitty. Not a good combination, where it's like you're not fulfilled in your life, but then you make yourself feel bad for not feeling fulfilled because you're like, well, I have everything. I have healthy kids. I have a wonderful partner. I have a beautiful job or a wonderful business. Why do I feel this way? And it's like, because your soul is telling you, hey, hi, hello. Hey, I chose you. The only difference between people that are super fulfilled and happy and just like luminous and liberated in their life is awareness. You can't have awareness without self-compassion. And self-compassion comes from your self-concept, which is everything being in congruence. Once you get this unlock, like I said last episode, everything in the world is possible for you. Self-compassion, even when you're the worst, it is an opportunity for you to cultivate deeper friendship and intimacy with yourself by getting to know yourself better, which is all of what awareness is about. It's just like, oh, I didn't know that about you. Like really just think about your relationship with yourself just like anyone else. So the more you're vulnerable with each other, the more you discover about them and like their quirks. A lot of us don't even let ourselves be vulnerable with ourselves. I know I did that for a really long time. I wouldn't, and I would just judge. Now I'm just like, oh, that's so cute. Like really being able to see that about yourself, that energy part of you pointing you in the direction of your values, that is pointing you in the direction of your growth, that is pointing you in the direction of your charism, charism. Your charism is your life's purpose, your aliveness. That only comes after you develop a sense of rapport with yourself, which is why I am emphatic about doing this work with everyone who wants the opportunity to activate the potential that is in their DNA. When you have that sense of self-respect where you're like, I know who I am, you have values that you will not compromise no matter what. Like, this is who I am and this is where I draw the line. I'm not going to stand by and not say anything. You have this titanium backbone and self-concept where you're just like, whether or not you like me is not relevant here. When you develop this type of inner stamina, you get this clarity of that internal voice, those soul pings, those synchronicities. I have a feeling, I don't know what it is, but I have this idea and I'm sort of feeling like doing this. And I know that it sounds crazy, right? It becomes more and more clear because the clarity comes as a result of you becoming more and more clear about who the fuck you are, what you will and will not tolerate. You no longer compromise yourself. Compromising yourself can be like going to a party that you don't really want to go to because you don't want your sister-in-law to be mad at you. That is compromising your values. How we do one thing is how we do everything. Being polite doesn't mean compromising your value and suffocating your spirit. When the choices that you make are congruent with who you say you are, with your self-concept, then you are able to give yourself compassion even when you're the worst. When you recognize it, you're going to keep your word to yourself. You are exactly the person that you say you are. You're going to be doing podcasts like this one, even when it feels uncomfortable. Are you tired of being in a robotic relationship with success, with zero meaning or joy during the process, where your victories feel anticlimactic? If you're nodding your head yes, listen closely, because I might have the solution you've been searching for. My Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, a 6-week, highly individualized one-on-one coaching experience designed exclusively for perfectionists like you. Your perfectionism is actually your greatest asset, and leveraging it can be hard work or take years of guesswork. That's why in Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, I give you my key frameworks to taking charge of your Ferrari drive, proven to work even for the most type A, high-strung, stubborn perfectionists. In the first 30 days, you will cut your burnout in half, increase your professional fulfillment by at least 150%, and your self-compassion will go up at least 250%. And that is just your first 30 days. So if you want to save yourself years of trial and error, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/accelerator today. Or if you want to take the easy way, just click the link in the show notes to check out the Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator.